This lecture is about very, very important stuff because this lecture is about money. All right. Money is something that occupies our minds all the time. So we need to understand it fundamentally. Uh, and we need to, for those who already understand it, they need to get a theoretical grasp of what actually is money, what are the characteristics of money, and what are the functions of money. All right. So let's go to the definition. Money can be coins and paper notes themselves that have little or no intrinsic value. Their value stems directly from the fact that sellers have complete confidence in the coins and paper we are giving to them, and so they exchange it for goods and services we require. So money or the paper on which the US dollar is printed is probably doesn't have any value of its own. It derives its value from the guarantee that is there in the US dollar that it represents $100 or $10 or $5 or whatever it is. So the value is not of the piece of paper, the value is that of the guarantee which we give to the seller, that if you give those goods which we want, we can give you this paper note, and with this note you can buy something else that you want because it has a guarantee from the US government. Similarly, Pakistan rupee would have a guarantee from Pakistani government, Indian rupee would have a guarantee from the Indian government, and so on and so forth. So money is basically something which doesn't have intrinsic value or value of its own, but it derives its value or it derives its confidence from whatever is written on that or the guarantee that is given for that. All right. In the absence of this mechanism, people used to rely on the barter system. A barter system is an old method of exchange. It is exchange of services and goods for other services and goods in return. So when money was not there, people still used to trade, but that trade was slightly different. Uh, that trade could only happen between two parties who had a coincidence of wants, which means, for example, I need a shoe and somebody needs a shirt. I make shirts, and let's say person A makes shoes. So I go to person A and I say that you have shoes and I have shirt. You want a shirt and I want shoes. So I'll give my shirt to you, and in return you give me your shoes. All right. So this is how trade used to happen. But for this to happen, there was this little condition that what I had must be in demand by the other person A, and what the other person A had must be something that I desire, right? For example, I desired shoes, he had shoes, and he desired shirt, and I had a shirt. So the trade could only happen when the two develop a coincidence of wants. Yani, both parties should want something that the other party has. Without this, this was a problem. For example, let's say person A had shoes, he wanted a shirt, and I had a shirt. But I didn't want a shirt, I wanted a toothbrush. So why would I trade my shirt for his shoes? I would never do that. So the trade would never take place. This was the biggest limitation of the barter system, wherein you had to have a coincidence of wants. When wants didn't coincide, trade could not take place. That was the fundamental problem. For barter system to be effective, there should be double coincidence of wants, whereby two people have to have the appropriate goods or services with which each other wants. Now, money solved this problem. For example, I want a toothbrush, but I have a shirt. Person A wants shirt and he has shoes. So what I could do is that I could give this shirt to person A, and instead of him giving me shoes, he'll give me, let's say, 1000 rupees. And then I can use those 1000 rupees to buy a toothbrush for somebody else. So this presence of money solved this big problem of coincidence of wants. So money makes the whole process of exchange and trade easier and simpler. Without this, trade and exchange was very difficult. But with money, as I've explained with the example, it became much more easy. Money is anything that is regularly used to buy goods and services. It is coins, notes, checks, credit cards, and debit cards. So all this constitute money. Anything that you can use for exchanging goods or service. So you will be surprised that credit card or debit card is also considered as money, because you just give your credit card to swipe and you can get your fuel tank filled. All right. So it helps you in exchanging a very important good, which is gasoline. All right. without this, you would not be able to execute this trade. So credit card, debit card, coins, notes, checks, everything is considered as money. Now, there are very, very important characteristics of money. These characteristics are the things which make money good. All right, there is certain level of goodness that different forms of money enjoy, and this level of goodness depends on the following characteristics. Number one, money should be acceptable. All right, US dollar is the most acceptable form of money worldwide because it's accepted everywhere in the world. So it's the most acceptable form of money. Other countries have their own currencies as well, but they're not as much acceptable as the US dollar, or maybe euro is also almost as much acceptable. So this means that whenever you give this amount of money or currency to somebody, they will be happy to exchange it for some goods and services. So dollar and euro are the most acceptable forms of currency. Other currencies are not that acceptable. So the more acceptable a currency is, the better it is for the people, right? So the acceptability is very, very important for the beholder of money, right? It should be durable, which means it should not, let's say, you've gone to a bank and you've gotten a dollar bill, and that dollar bill is in your pocket, and after, let's say, 10 days, it faded away. The durability is a problem. So it should be durable. If you keep those bills in your, let's say, for 10 years, it should be still, it should stay the same, right? So it should be durable. It should be portable, which means you can easily carry them with you. All right. Certain depreciated currencies in the world, for example, the currency of Zimbabwe, uh, they are not portable because you have to carry a lot of bills, thousands and millions maybe, to buy, let's say, a soap or a food item or something, right? They're not very portable. So a good form of money would be very easily portable, which means you can take a few bills in your pocket and it can satisfy your wants and needs. It should be scarce and divisible into small units. All right. For the smooth functioning of money, it should be scarce. If it would not be scarce, its value would keep on declining, and people would not have confidence in that form of currency or that form of money. So it should be scarce and divisible into small units so that you can exchange it for smaller units, and you can buy the things according to your needs. For example, you have $100 note in your pocket, but you need something which is only worth $10. So you can give that note and get $90 back, and you can just buy the $10 thing for yourself, right? So these are very, very important characteristics or which make money good, all right? Good money should be acceptable, durable, portable, scarce, and divisible into small units, right? If money is bad, it would not be acceptable. It would have durability issues. It would have portability issues. It would not be scarce, and it would not be easily divisible into small units. So these are very, very important characteristics. And we also have functions of money, which are very, very important. The most important function of money is called medium of exchange, which I explained earlier. For example, I want a toothbrush, but I have a shirt to sell. Person A wants a shirt, but he has shoes to sell. So if I have no money, we cannot have a trade between us. But if we have money, what I can do is that I can sell my shirt to person A. He can give me $500 or $100, whatever, and I can use those dollars to buy toothbrush from person B, right? So money made this exchange possible. This is the function of money as medium of exchange. The second function is unit of account. In today's world, we count everything in the form of money, right? For example, the sales of a fertilizer company and the revenue of a bank, both are in the form of thousands of rupees or thousands of dollars. So everything is counted in the form of money, right? If there was no money, how would we compare these things? How would we count things, all right? And the third very important function is store of value, right? We store value in the form of money. For example, if I want to give something to my child when, let's say, she's 30 years old, the best thing for me is to have his or her account opened in the bank and deposit that money in that bank account, which would be available to him or her after 30 years. So the value would be stored in the form of money. All right. I cannot store meat for 30 years or milk for 30 years or other non-durable items for 30 years. Yes, I can store gold. It is also durable. I can store silver. It is also durable. But money is also durable. You can fix it in the account and it would stay there for 30 years, 50 years, 60 years. So it stores value, all right? It stores value. It is a medium of transfer of intergenerational wealth. Without money, this would have been a big problem, all right? So this is how we end, and this is where we end today's lecture.